Today on CTV News at 5, police recover stolen drugs and charge 3 people. Plus,
what I'm really hoping comes from this is some healing.
A community comes together as its health center closes. And men in heels take steps to help women and their families escape violence.
CTV News with Alicia Fieldbird.
Good afternoon. Thousands of Albertans and dignitaries gathered to say their final goodbyes to former Premier Peter Lougheed.
Does the public of Alberta endorse this budget, and specifically the Alberta Heritage Trust Fund concept, a dramatic departure from customary provincial government budgeting?
The memorial started with a 6-minute video highlighting his life as a husband, father, grandfather, and statesman. Lougheed passed away in a Calgary hospital last week at the age of 84. Speakers included Alberta Premier Alison Redford and Prime Minister Stephen Harper, who called Lougheed one of Canada's greatest men.
Every place and every era have their leaders. They are confronted with the challenges of the events and the times in which they live. More often than not, these define them. However, a leader sometimes defines his own age. And Peter Lougheed was that kind of leader.
Lougheed's son Stephen also took the podium, joined by the rest of the Lougheed family. He said his father valued, above all else, good people. Damage is estimated at $250,000 after an overnight fire at the Costco store in South Lethbridge. The store has since reopened, but for more than 2 hours this morning, customers were turned away as staff and restoration crews worked to clean up inside. Terry Vogt reports.
It's crazy. I had no idea.
Caitlin Bonk arrived at work to find an almost empty parking lot, something that's highly unusual for the Lethbridge Costco store. Turns out it wasn't a slow day, but an overnight fire that forced the store to turn away customers.
I see. Makes sense now.
I know what you'll be doing today, though.
Cleaning up?
Fire officials say the call came in just after 3 a.m. as a burglar alarm, apparently set off by heat or smoke from the fire. Police were first on the scene, but then called the fire department. Crews from 3 different fire stations responded and managed to confine the blaze to the southwest corner of the large warehouse.
Every fire produces its own challenges. The challenge in this building, no windows, dark, completely filled with smoke, definitely produces a different type of firefighting challenge for our men. And when you have high rack storage in a building, you also, when you have a fire, you have the potential problem of having stuff fall on your firefighters.
Crews first had to locate the fire, then break into a locked storage area in order to put it out. Fire officials say overhead sprinklers proved to be extremely helpful. Restoration crews were called in to help with the cleanup, but throughout the morning, customers were arriving to discover their shopping plans were being put on hold.
I'm okay. I wasn't shopping. I was just returning the meat recall. They probably heard about that, so that's all I was doing. So it's okay for me. It's not going to affect me.
Well, I'm going to go over to Walmart and then I'm going to come back.
I can't get my drugs and a new prescription.
Costco employs more than 275 people. None of them were in the warehouse when the fire broke out, so there were no injuries. Despite all the smoke and water damage, the staff did manage to get the store reopened before noon. Terry Vogt, CTV News, Lethbridge.
The cause of the fire has not yet been confirmed, but police say it's not suspicious. Damage is estimated at $50,000 to merchandise and another $200,000 to clean up and repair the building. Health inspectors were brought in to examine food products. Costco has followed their recommendations in removing some of the items from store shelves. 3 Southern Albertans are facing charges after police recovered $20,000 of stolen drugs. Yesterday afternoon around 4:30, the Special Enforcement Unit searched a home along the 1300 block of 5A Avenue North. Police recovered several drugs including morphine, oxycodone, and Demerol. Officers believe the drugs were stolen from Lethbridge Pharmacy the day before. 38-year-old Carrie Ray Stewart of Medicine Hat, 36-year-old Alexander George Wawia of Medicine Hat, and 27-year-old Jason Thomas Wilson of Lethbridge face several drug-related charges. All 3 were remanded to appear in court today. Investigation into the pharmacy robbery is ongoing and further charges are anticipated. XL Foods has once again expanded its recall of potentially tainted beef. The recall now affects hundreds of meat products sold all across 10 provinces and the territories. From meatballs to sausage and, of course, patties, there are real concerns that E. coli tainted meat could be in homes nationwide. This as Alberta health officials investigate 5 E. coli illnesses, including the case of Sarah Demoskoff. The 4-year-old Calgary girl's kidneys are failing and she's on dialysis. She became sick with E. coli days after eating recalled hamburger patties from Safeway. Alberta Health Services also confirms 4 more E. coli cases in Edmonton. Dory's in with weather, and Dory, it's the last day of summer today, so are we going to see a shift with the weather when fall starts tomorrow?
You know, you think you would with the seasonal change, but no, tomorrow is going to feel like today, and on it goes. Our average temperature for this time of year is 18 degrees now. We're going to be well above that for the next several days, and you'll see that in the 5-day forecast. I'll tell you all about it in a couple of minutes.
Thanks, Dory. The time for fighting is over for the village of Carmangay in their quest to keep their continuing care centre. The centre closed for the final time yesterday. Last night, community members came together to say one last goodbye. CTV's Daryl Rummelt was there.
This is going to be an evening of moving on.
They came to share personal stories.
And I'm going to miss that immensely.
And poems sent to politicians in the hopes that this day would never come.
Our Carmangay is precious to us all. We know the score. If you proceed this way, you'll be resented evermore.
But most of all, they came to say goodbye.
What I'm really hoping comes from this is some healing.
After a nearly 3-month battle with Alberta Health Services, the Carmangay Continuing Care Centre is closed, and the community's healing process can finally begin.
I think we all just need a chance to sit down and be sad together and do some of the grieving that we've put on hold while we've been trying to fight this.
Ginger Dietz's grandmother was the last resident to leave. She says just because the facility is closed doesn't mean the problem is solved. The town's mayor, Kim Nichols, says this is another test of her community's strength.
But I'm also confident that this town is made up of strong people, and I think that we're going to thrive. We're going to dig in our heels, and hopefully Alberta Health Services lets us keep the building or has great plans for the building, and we can thrive.
I'm sure they treat people in other third world countries better shape than what they did here. They wouldn't listen to anybody. They didn't reply to any of the letters. We had over 600 letters sent to the minister, the premier, everybody else. No responses to any of them.
The closure of this facility means for the first time since 1909, medical services are not available in the village. Residents say they're proud of how long they've been able to hold on to services. They just wish they didn't have to let go. Daryl Rummelt, CTV News, Carmangay.
2 of the 18 Alzheimer's patients that were moved from the facility have since passed away. Wildrose MLA Ian Donovan says he plans to raise the issue in the legislature. The city's marking International Peace Day by celebrating its relationship with the nearby Blood Reserve. A Peace Day celebration will get underway at 6:30 tonight in the City Hall foyer. Organizers are hoping the event will rebuild dialogue in the wake of racist comments that were circulating online after the September 10th wildfire west of Lethbridge. The Lethbridge Coalition of Municipalities Against Racism and Discrimination is organizing the gathering. Representatives say the city values diversity and dialogue is an important part of growing and learning.
It is through dialoguing that we learn the other perspective, because often what happens is we look at issues through our own lenses, our own perspectives, not recognizing that there are so many other perspectives that make up our community. So once you open up the opportunity for people to dialogue, then we have an opportunity to see the other people's point of view, and that will help us create better communities.
A representative of the Human Rights Commission and local politicians plan to attend. Organizers say standing up against racism remains one of the city's priorities. Pecani members are currently in a BAM meeting to try and shed light on the chief's absence. On September 5th, Gail Strikes with a Gun was suspended for 30 days. The BAM Council claims the chief was in conflict of interest, which she adamantly denies. BAM members met at 4 this afternoon to discuss the matter. Council said it expects Chief Strikes with a Gun will be reinstated on October 5th. Medicine Hat College got its largest single donation in history today, $2.2 million that will go towards health studies. The college will use the money as an endowment with interest earned going into student bursaries and programming costs in the health department. Ron Rogers left a generous gift in memory of his wife Wilma prior to his passing. He was proud of his wife for maintaining a successful nursing career in an era when many women left the workplace once they married. Lethbridge MLA is off to Washington to attend a major trade conference. Lethbridge East MLA Bridget Pasteur left today immediately following the state memorial for Peter Lougheed. Pasteur is representing Alberta at a Canadian-American Border Trade Alliance conference that starts Sunday. It will last until Tuesday. Pasteur will be participating in sessions about customs, border protection, and cross-border energy trade. The cost of her trip is estimated to be just under $3,000. Farmers from southern Alberta are getting set to return a 10-year-old favor. Many are preparing to join producers from across Alberta and Saskatchewan to send cash and much-needed hay to drought-ridden Ontario and Quebec. In 2002, farms and livestock groups from eastern Canada came together for Hay West, helping farmers and ranchers on the prairies. The president of the Wild Rose Agricultural Producers says despite the recent grass fires in southern Alberta, there's a good supply of hay and feed in the province. Lynn Jacobson says it's badly needed down east.
There's really a shortage. In fact, some of the people we know, or I know personally down in Ontario, say they don't have enough feed to carry them beyond October. So it's becoming critical that they find some source of food for their animals, and this is one effort that we're trying that won't mitigate the problem, but it will actually maybe alleviate some immediate distress situations so people have some time to plan as they're going forward.
Farmer organizations are working with Mennonite Disaster Services and various levels of government to figure out the logistics of getting hay and cash to eastern producers. Anyone interested in donating can watch for details by going to the website hayeast2012.com. The YWCA is expecting to raise more than $21,000 for its anti-violence programs thanks to a large group of brave men who put on dresses and high heels today. Police officers, firefighters, and members of the local business community did their part to support programs that help women, children, and even some men escape from family violence. The event is known as a Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. Participants braved the painful shoes to walk around Galt Gardens.
Definitely, to prevent abuse of children and women is a very good idea, and we need to do whatever we can to stop it.
Even put on these things, eh?
Yeah, once a year at the most, yes.
The YWCA says about 3,000 people go through their various family violence programs during the course of a year. And now let's take a look at the markets.